telling them I've never been to one yet. Chick-fil-A is supposed
That's
to
the
be good.
first time I ever went to one. Actually, I didn't realize,
Are they good as chicken fingers?
well, you know, what's interesting, because I don't really eat much of that, but they had sausage, egg, and biscuit stuff for breakfast. So as I bought the
Maybe it's
sausage.
chicken sausage.
No, no, it's sausage, egg, and biscuit. That with hash browns was $4 and some change I got for Sue. But yeah, I was like, I didn't think you sold. They have a big cow eating their chicken.
Yeah, because the
Would you like me to
advertise.
shut the door?
Yeah.
Chairwoman, would you like the door shut or
Oh,
not?
yes, please.
But yeah, no, they got sausage, egg, biscuit. They got
Well, I mean, they're,
bacon.
or
Bacon.
the advertisement is the cow and the chicken
Yeah,
usually.
I know. Well, apparently they sacrificed one cow.
Maybe the pig, maybe the pig.
Or pig, I'm sorry, you're
Are we
right.
ready to call the meeting to order?
You're right. Pig is
Can you please call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Alderman Moore. Alderman Vaccaro.
present.
Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Howard.
Present.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Present.
Chairwoman Davis.
Present.
4 present, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We have 3 board bills before us today. I'd like to turn this over to our airport director for explanation. We'll start with Board Bill 224.
Thank you, and I'm going to have Rob Salarano present them. I'll be here to help answer any questions.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The first board bill, number 224, is an ordinance authorizing the sale of 1.3994 acres of land in Kinloch, Missouri to Ameren. And this is for an upgraded electrical substation, a new substation to upgrade electricity in the area. It is right there where the Monroe Avenue has the jag up right there. The purchase price is $80,000 from Ameren. A review appraisal and an appraisal were performed. Ameren will pay all the closing costs. There's a number of conditions preceding, including your approval of this ordinance and FAA approval of the land sale. We do maintain a navigation easement over the land for aircraft noise. We respectfully request your approval of this ordinance.
One additional thing I will add is that this substation that Ameren is building is not supporting the airport, it's actually to support the North County area. So it is to upgrade the services from an electrical standpoint in that area of North County, not the airport.
Okay, that's good.
And it's also a piece of property that is not contiguous to the airport, nor is it contiguous to a larger piece of land that would be available for development. This is one of those little small pockets, which we have quite a few of, that are just an acre here or an acre there. So it doesn't have value in terms of being able to do an economic development project on that property.
Let's see if we have questions from the commission, from the board members. Alderman Vaccaro.
Sure. So is this part of the land that we bought during the buyout for the new runway?
I'm assuming.
No, this would be the noise land.
How did we acquire that?
For the Part 150 noise program for the airport, you purchase land and relocate the residents.
And there
that's
is
part of
federal
that.
dollars that we received to do that purchase.
Okay, and then my other question is, so it's in what area is it in?
Kinloch.
Kinloch.
Kenlock. And if I can remember from past meetings, going back a ways on here, it seemed like a lot of times when we did something in someone else's area, like Kenlock in particular, I can remember them having the mayor of Kenlock on the phone. And I mean, is this something their area, obviously it's not something they probably need, but have they talked to the
Ameren has worked very closely with the community. It is adjacent to the firehouse or the city hall?
Yeah, I believe it's City Hall.
City Hall. So it is something that Ameren has worked very closely with the Kenlock community, obviously, to upgrade reliability for them. So we do know that they've had numerous conversations and that they are on board with that.
Okay, yeah, normally, like I said, last time, if I remember, Sam Moore had you guys bring a letter from the mayor, and
I think that was Berkeley, if I remember
I don't think
correctly.
it was Berkeley.
It was a Berkeley situation, and the main part of that was the city manager had not talked with the mayor.
Right.
But
And I think a park was involved with
there
that.
was a park involved, there was the the farming, program that was involved. So moving the farm over to another spot.
No, that's
Yeah.
something different.
Oh,
It
okay.
is. No, this had to do with land that we had bought and turned back. I was here on the farm one too, because you're right. They wanted to give them the land at actually on the airport ground as part of, you know, to do the farming for up there. That was a different thing. This had to do with, and I'd have to call Sam to ask him. I'm trying to put it in my head. But it had to do a lot with the people that were, and I don't know that they were actually right at the time, but if you fall within the area of the noise mitigation, you get windows, you get soundproofing, and it's paid for. And at the time,
But Kinloch was not part, there were
No.
no homes in
That's right.
Kinloch that
So-
fell in the contour.
okay, so, but
It's a
that,
different
but that was,
contour.
but that was the issue. It didn't fall within the contour, but then Sam and Alderman Bosley at the time wanted, even though it wasn't, you can't do it, they wanted it to be included, but it's a federal thing where the noise comes in. So they were wanting to do something there, and I know Sam and them we actually got a letter. I'd have to go back and look. But anyway, my question is, are you working with the
We
mayor
are
and-
not, I do know that Ameren was working with them, and that, at least in the conversations with Ameren, they had full support, so, I mean, it is upgrading their substation, so it's bringing a reliability to that community.
So there's a substation there now, they're just upgrading it.
It's a new one.
They're gonna replace the substation.
Where's the one that was there now?
I don't know where they located, I mean, it's not on the same parcel, of course.
Right, I don't know.
But, and I couldn't point out
Yeah, I don't
where
know
Ameren has their, the substation that they're replacing.
It's an older one that's
Yes.
had a lot of issues.
Well, that's my questions. I just hope that you're working with the area, because if somebody put a substation on a vacant parcel of property in the 23rd Ward, I would want to know, and I'd want to have,
Well, they obviously
Conversation.
have to work with the city to be able to put it there. So they can't put it on, I mean, it's right next to the city hall.
They will have to get zoning
So they'll have
from
to
the
get a
city of
zoning
Kinloch.
from-
They're gonna
from
have to go
Kinloch.
to do all that with the city of Kinloch.
okay, so it'll have, so if I follow up later, they will have gotten zoned, they have to get zoned.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Sure.
Believe me, nobody has privileges like that in the United States of America anymore. There was a time, but not anymore. They do have to go through the normal procedures, building permits and all those things.
That's my
Yeah.
questions.
Even when they sell something, Ameren has to go through a certain process and procedure with community. Because they sold a piece that had a station in it in my ward, and they had to go through community meetings and everything.
Well, I just know that they put a little substation on Hampton, and since everybody in the room would know the owners of the property, she actually sold her property and closed her business because she didn't want that substation there, was my understanding, and so they moved out. And after, I can tell
She
you,
sold it to Ameren, and she not.
No,
told
she
it.
did
And she
not
probably
own-
did very well.
no,
Yeah,
she
she probably
did,
did very well.
no, she did not own the property. She owned the property next to it.
No, but people do that, they sell businesses to Ameren.
No, but she didn't sell it to Ameren, it now starting to become an apartment building, it sat vacant for a long time. Anyway, I'm done.
All right, sir. Alderwoman Howard.
Okay, so these were 8 separate parcels at one time?
Yes.
Okay. And so I imagine this was part of Kinloch's residential area, and then the city acquired them through a noise abatement program through federal?
Yes, through the Part 150 program.
Okay. Okay. And so we don't own anything between this parcel and the airport?
Oh, we do.
We own
But there's,
some,
we don't have a contiguous
Right.
right
Okay.
to this.
Okay.
So there is property all over this area that,
Dotted, I guess.
yeah,
basically,
and which has been some of the
sporadically.
challenges is that it's not contiguous. And so to go out and do a
Try-
development,
And
it
try to
has
acquire
not
the other
been
pieces
feasible,
is-
right?
yeah.
And we've got.
And you're not in the development business, actually?
Not, no, I mean, we look for developers to
Right,
come
right,
develop,
right.
but the other piece is we had a substantial ask over the fair market value of the property. So, and Ameren agreed to pay for that.
Okay. That's all I have.
Very good. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
No question.
Okay. Anything else you need to add in closing?
no,
No? Okay. Chair is ready to accept a motion to approve Board Bill two
I
twenty-four.
would like to make a motion to approve Board Bill 224.
Been moved,
Second.
all righty. Moved in second, please call the vote.
Alderman Moore, Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Cone, Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
Chairwoman Davis.
Aye.
4 aye votes do pass.
Now we're ready for Board Bill two twenty-five.
Yes, this is this Board Bill number 225 and Board Bill 226 are closely connected. The first one, Board Bill 225, is a first amendment to the restated and amended lease agreement with Signature Flight Support Services. Signature Flight Support Services operates what's called a fixed base operator for general aviation aircraft, fueling, repair, and hangaring. And they have these hangars right here, these 3, and then the entire ramp area and some ground. And as part of this first amendment to their lease agreement, they are giving back 12,750 square feet of land. It's immediately to the western edge of their property here. It's a lot of grass area right there that they're giving back, the 12,750 square feet. In recognition that they're reducing their premises, we're reducing their rent by $5,174 a year. The lease commenced on July 1st, 2013, and still ends June 30th, 2033. This has been approved by the Airport Commission, and we're respectfully requesting your approval of this amendment. I can tell you that the reason they're giving this back is connected to the next board bill. It's for further development from the lessee, their neighbor.
And we asked for them to give it
Yes,
back.
we
just to be
requested
clear.
this from them.
Okay. Any questions, Alderman Vaccaro?
I'd like to know, maybe we should have did the other board bill first, but, so what's the other, what is it? So we're gonna
It will
come up
be a
with
new
this one.
hangar, it'll be a new corporate hangar that'll be built, and with an existing tenant,
Who's the existing tenant?
MHS,
And they're gonna build a hangar?
an additional
for-
hangar.
Right. They have one hangar right here, MHS, and they're gonna build a new hangar right here
On that.
on that
On that
ground
ground.
that they're giving back. Part of the ground they're giving back, and then they're adding ground
And,
too.
and how much we charging?
It'll be more than what we've got here,
Yeah.
so
So-
we'll talk about that, but,
Well, and so we come out with, well, we can.
yes, we do come out with a,
How much, a net positive?
$9,991 annual rent and net positive. That's just on the rent.
5,000.
Yeah.
So about 4,000,
No,
and they'll be building a brand-new hangar,
right.
so.
But I mean, we're not giving them anything back for building the hangar, right?
No, they put all the money into building the hangar, but it generates additional activity on our airfield, because it's space currently, they'll obviously fill that hangar with tenants, which will be new tenants to the airport and new activity on the airport as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderwoman Howard,
No questions.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
No questions.
Okay, I don't have any questions on this.
I make a motion, we pass Board Bill with the do-pass recommendation, 225.
And I'll second it, and I'll also ask for previous roll.
Moved in second, it's been asked for previous roll. Hearing no concerns, Board Bill two twenty-five has been approved. Now we move on to Board Bill two twenty-six.
This is the Board Bill 226 is the first amendment to the MHS Travel and Charter lease. MHS currently rents this hangar right here directly from the airport, and they're gonna use the land that Signature gave back and some additional land to build a new hangar for their operation. And they're adding approximately 33,700 square feet to their premises, and that's what we call the expansion area. The additional rent charged to MHS will be $15,165 a year. And means their annual rent will now be $211,185 per year. The First Amendment also extends the term of the lease agreement by 5 years and will now expire June 30th, 2038. We respectfully request your approval of this First Amendment to the lease agreement with MHS Travel and Charter.
And we believe the cost, I think we have their estimated cost.
$5 million.
$5 million will be what MHS will spend to build this new hangar. And again, it will then house obviously new activity to the airport, that today we're out of corporate hangars. It's been a large request that we've had. We, again, the airport don't want to develop the hangars. We look for developers that want to. But I have no doubt that it'll be filled the day it opens.
Great, sounds good. Any questions, Alderman Vaccaro?
None.
Okay, Alderwoman Howard?
So MHS is strictly a charter airline operator and,
Yeah, I mean, they're not necessarily an airline per se.
No,
They're an operator.
And they will also manage people's planes for them.
Oh, okay.
Corporation,
So-
yeah.
okay, various services.
Yeah.
That's all I have, thank you.
Okay, Alderwoman Middlebrook?
None.
Okay. Requesting a motion to approve Board Bill
I
226.
make a motion to approve Board Bill 226.
Second and previous rule.
Been requested for previous roll, here no objections, Board Bill 226 has now been approved. We have, we have a need to have a conversation of, I wanna do it at some point this month, and so we can educate the committee members on, some of the things that we're looking at for the future for the airport. And by then, I think you'll probably have a timeline on how the process will move forward for the management study.
Okay,
And we wanna make sure that the committee members are abreast of all that information. And then also, I had some questions on minority participation, on a board bill. And I'm gonna leave that to also have that explanation given to the entire committee later on.
okay.
In that education process. Because I think it's important to understand, for me, I'm bothered, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's how anybody else should feel. So, we want everybody to be educated on how you, work the process and first of all, acquiring participants, how the notices are gone out, giving us full value of the participation currently at the airport. And anything else that you think is pertinent for us to know and understand. We're about to go into a long process of probably unfolding everything about the airport. And it would be helpful for us just to have a little bit more knowledge before we start listening to all of that.
Sure.
So whatever you think is important for us, I'd like to set aside a committee meeting just for that general information.
We'd be happy to just tell us what works, and, you know, Amber would present anything relative to, the minority participation. I mean, we're very pleased with, the participation last year, and she'll be coming out soon with the year-end report.
Okay.
If there's other things you want, again, the process relative, if we're speaking to the privatization,
Yeah.
I'm not on that selection committee,
No, I
but,
know.
but as soon as that process is complete, we can get I'll get an update, and then, we can, either I and/or someone from the mayor's office.
Just the structure, because as I understand it, there's a structure that's gonna be put in place, and I know the mayor's office will probably announce some of it, but not all of it, but we need to know it, and I understand.
I'm not aware of a structure that's being put in place,
Oh, well.
just so you know.
Okay, well, I am, so what we need to do is, we need to make sure that this committee is abreast. No matter what happens with that process at the end, it's gonna have to be approved legislatively by the Board of Aldermen. So we need to, get ourselves prepared.
And we need to be able to speak to our colleagues.
Absolutely. When people, I got people walking up to me already, you know,
Can I make a suggestion?
sure.
That we schedule this after Amber gathers her data and
Oh, I think
prepares
she's
her
got it.
report? Or, I thought you said she was in the process
No,
of
she's-
preparing
she's
the
got it.
Well,
year-end
I mean,
report.
she mentioned a couple of things, and I think more to maybe put together more of the process. I mean, we have paid data and everything, so if you can just tell us when.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
That's-
do you
that's
think we
fine.
could do it maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks?
Oh, of course. Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So, send us a couple of dates. We had this
I'm
Thursday
gonna
set
be gone.
aside.
I'm gonna be at conferences at the end of the month, so. and then-
I will make myself available,
I'm
however
just,
you all decide.
if you want it as one meeting and you want it sort of an update, I have the end of the month, I've got 3 days in DC, and then the beginning of February, I have 3 days with ACI, our Airport Council. So I've got 6 days there where I'm gonna be out of pocket. So, I mean, I can give those to you, but,
And I need you to decide, because we probably wouldn't want to go past For me, once you get past an hour and a half, people are not listening anyway. But if you wanna do it in 2 segments, just tell us, and we'll do 2 segments. But we wanna make sure that we get everybody prepared. As
Will we
long,
tentatively look at February first?
will I give you enough time to get everything ready?
I won't be here, but that's, I mean, I'm
No,
just
what-
letting you know I won't be
Rhonda
here.
needs to be here, yeah.
And you won't be here the 25th either?
No, 29th, 30th, 31st, and then February 1st through the 5th. So the 29th, I think I'm good.
Gentlemen, can we finish this?
No, 25th.
Because we want to make sure everybody's able to be here. That's critical.
That's a Thursday. We have dry run that afternoon, so as long as we do the morning, or we have dry run in the afternoon, but.
Okay, so we do the morning.
Okay.
We'll keep our same time for
10
Thursday
o'clock.
morning and try to get, and we'll do 2 sessions. We'll do the one before you start your process and then one after.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So what, that second week in February, we'll do another one?
So I'll do the diversity program, the 25th is what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We could do that.
Let's do that.
Okay.
And,
So the one on the just so I'm clear, the one on the 25th, do you only want participation updates and sort of how our process works? And then the one in, which I will be at, and then the one in February, are you looking more for an airport update? I want to make sure.
I'm a chronological type person.
Okay,
So when I talk about operations of something, I need to start it at the top and talk about structure.
okay,
And then we'll talk about minority participation. So the structure is really important. We have a couple of new people to the process, so we need to make sure that they understand that there's an airport commission, how the staffing of the airport. Police now are separate, right?
no, the police, the
They
fire.
came back in. They came
Right,
back
the
in.
police are, the airport police are independent.
Independent
The
now, that's right.
firefighters are part of the city fire department,
Right.
but allocated to the airport.
I knew something had changed out there. Okay, so let's just talk about operations, so people understand how the airport operates.
Okay, and you want
Yeah.
that on the 25th?
On the 25th.
Okay,
And
okay.
then we'll do the minority participation part of it.
okay,
Because the 25th, by then, I think a lot of stuff is gonna be public by then about this management thing. And I know we need to be prepared, we really do.
So in February, I'll do the
Yes,
diversity,
ma'am.
okay.
no, in January.
So
Oh, did I not?
I thought she was working it out.
Oh,
You got 2 days.
Okay,
She's working out too, she's
Okay.
saying that it's gonna be a full load for the.
Right,
for
operations is
men
gonna be the
operations.
25th.
okay, I
And
got
then the
it.
second week in February,
Will do.
you all find a date, it'll be
Okay.
one of those Thursdays.
Okay,
Second or third week in February, one
okay.
of those Thursdays.
So,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
just a couple for the diversity.
Yes,
I'd like it broke down, because my argument, which you know has been there, like the wine house had 0 minority participation. The new or the new lounge, again, a group that had minority participation, had 0 minority participation. I'd like it broke down.
By
Because,
each vendor?
right, because you had said, gee, we have enough minority participation, we're beyond our goal. I'd like to know where your minority participation comes from, because there's groups operating there with 0 minority participation. If all the minority participation's coming from what area? If it's coming only through
sure.
the, through
We'll
the
do a
people who
breakdown
clean the
between the
airport?
federal program and what, because concessions falls under the federal program and the
Right.
guidelines that we have to
I
follow.
just want broke
Yeah,
down,
and also by contract,
broke down, yes.
yes.
I'm curious where all the minority participation comes from.
Sure,
You know, if we have 40% minority participation, but it's all coming because the janitors, then we need to look at, so I'd like it broke down. My argument was on the wine house, and my argument was on the new lounge.
It does have participation, though.
It didn't when we were doing it, and if it does, it came from somewhere else.
there was a 0% goal.
Goal, but they
that
have
was set,
partici-
But
right.
they came back with participation.
Right.
I'd like to see where that came from, and, you know,
Sure.
so while we're doing it, it's just always been,
No, well,
you know, I
I
bring it
always
up,
plan to,
I
it would
vote,
be a
I
contract by
voted against
contract
those things
breakdown.
because of that, and I just would like that real breakdown.
Sure.
Well,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you're done.
Motion?
Second.
Adjourn.